You guys, welcome to an all-new So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. I didn't release a Wednesday episode because I released a Sunday episode, so you had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I knew I was driving back to LA last night, and I had to wake up early to do the Jeff Lewis Live after show. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll put out this interview I had, but I got in, I was exhausted, I haven't been sleeping well. And so I just not really took the day off because I'm not even required to do one, but I always feel guilty. So I guess I'm sorry, not sorry. Anyways, we've got a whole new episode today. We're going to do a full recap of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the episode from Tuesday night. There were some iconic scenes. Like, as a whole, I feel like it was a little bit of a filler episode, but had some amazing scenes. Of course, the Whitney stuff was really heartbreaking in regards to losing her best friend. We'll talk about all that, but I want to talk about a lot of pop culture stories, if you don't mind, before we do that. So remember, there's timestamps. If you want to skip right to where the recap starts, no harm, no foul. I probably won't even know about it. So also, I want to thank all of you guys for the Spotify Wrapped. Your Spotify year-end list came out today, and I got so many of them, so many I haven't even opened yet that it's really amazing to see that I've made your top 5 or your top 3 or your number 1. I don't know how to handle things that are awesome, things that are really awesome. But man, I think I'm going to repost everybody on Instagram that did that. I think sometimes I don't do that kind of stuff as much as I should, because I feel like there's something like douchebaggery about it. Like, look at me. But man, I am proud of it. And more importantly, I just want to thank everybody that made a post that actually just took the time to even admit they listened to this podcast. I mean, this should be a secret. My God, you guys went out there and admitted that this is one of your favorite shows. That's huge. That is huge. And I just keep thinking about back 4 years ago. I can't imagine it, and I don't know how to deal with that. It really screws up my mind. It's wild, because I think at the end of the day, and this isn't popular to admit, is that I don't like myself. Usually when I heard something bad about myself this week, and I was like, first off, how dare you? But second off, I could see where you wouldn't like, you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Because I am more negative about myself than I think anybody would ever possibly imagine. So it is one of those weird things. I don't know, man. It's weird, you guys. I really don't know why I choose to do any of this. I don't know why I chose to be an actor in the first place. I don't know, because these are things that you have to like confront yourself with, or you have to put yourself out there. And I'm one of the most sensitive people that I know. So it's really, I should have picked like accounting. I don't think you can get hurt by numbers. Who knows though? Can you get, I did a really big long division problem that still is hurt my feelings from 2017. How the heck are you guys doing? I talk to you all the time, but I still feel like I don't know how you're doing. I feel like every day it could change. I hope you're okay. The holidays, right? So this is Wednesday right now. I'm doing this a little earlier than usual, so it'll probably be a little bit more of a bumpier podcast than you're like, it's already really bumpy. No, this will be a little bit more of a bumpier podcast than most, because I am going to be winging this recap. I don't have the notes written out. We're going to be watching the show together. I've already watched it a couple times, but I haven't taken official notes. So we're going to do something where I'm watching and talking about it at the same time. So let's see how this goes. Always a lovely experience when I do that, but I have to do it early because I got invited to this like dinner talk about Variety put out this 40 top women in reality television, and it's at this really fancy restaurant called Spago, and I got invited to this at like 6:30, so I got to go. So it's like 2:20 right now. I've got to do this so I don't have to work when I come back afterwards, which will probably end up happening anyways. This is just a stream of consciousness podcast, you guys. Every thought in my head is coming directly into your ear holes. So yeah, I have to go do that. And it's one of those exciting things, but me being a glass half empty kind of guy, I'm like, oh God, Got to put on a suit. Probably not going to fit me great. Don't like how I look. Blah, blah, blah. They're honoring Kyle Richards. They're honoring Paige DeSorbo. It's one of those things you're like, I hope they don't know who I am. I'm not. It's amazing. It's truly amazing being in this mine. But yeah, I drove back to LA, and it was, I think the day after I get back from Arizona is always not bittersweet. I guess I'm just real depressed today. I'm real depressed today, even though, great things are happening. That Spotify Wrapped is just truly amazing. Isn't that wild about us in our heads sometimes? I hope I'm not the only one, that some real amazing things have happened today, and I just can't help but feel sad. I just can't help but feel sad, and I feel sometimes untethered. And I was really sad to leave Dad. Which, by the way, it really, man, I got to tell you, everybody responded so amazingly to his part of the podcast on Monday. I've got to bring him on more. I was talking to Sandra last night on the drive back, and I was just saying, I just don't want to ever. I feel like I don't want to get to the point where we might already be there, where people are like, oh, enough about the mom. We all have dead people in our lives, dude. And I get that, but I do see how it's helped me talk about it. And my dad, I don't think talks about it enough. So to be able to have him on the podcast and talk about it, I saw how that affected him in a positive way. And by the way, thank you to all the Patreon baddies. We did the live Patreon on Monday night, and my dad popped in. I don't think he understood that people couldn't talk back to him. We were just live, but he was just really blown away by the amount of love that you guys have shown him. And I think he really needs that. And it's one of those weird things. So yeah, I feel really sad in some ways being back here, but I'll be back in Arizona in a couple of weeks. Like I said, we're done with 2023 for all intents and purposes. It's over, and we're not even in December. But yeah, the drive back was uneventful, just long. But I do want to say one thing. On the way out of town, my two of my really good friends, they had a baby, and the baby, I mentioned this a couple months ago on the show. The baby was premature, so it's been in the NICU for a couple of months, but has gained a lot of weight. And I got to go visit the baby in the NICU. I had all my shots. It's really wild to go to the NICU. And there's premature babies all in this wing of the hospital, and you have to scrub in up to your elbows. And I was like, this is the cleanest I've ever been in my life. And I got to meet this beautiful, beautiful baby. This guy, I was just sitting there, and me and my buddy, the baby's father, I'm just staring at the baby going, this is just beautiful. This is his little tiny toes. And, he has a little breathing apparatus on now, which will eventually, I think in about a month, we'll be able to get rid of. But I just thought, listen, someday I'm going to make you watch Housewives with me. And I'm going to be the weird uncle that you never knew you wanted. But it was really a beautiful experience. I got to do that on the way out of town. And I just can't believe it's like, this is my baby in a lot of ways, but it's amazing to see actual human life in the very beginning, before any problems arise, before the world gets to them. And I'm just like, man, what a wild entry into the world to be born prematurely. But also, this kid's a fighter. And his parents are just amazing. And I was just so blessed to be able to go and to visit with him for the first time. And I hope that is one of many, many, many visits to come. So I'm a pussy. I get emotional about babies. I told you, man, my ovaries are kicking lately. We were talking on the Patreon the other night about Paris Hilton's baby, which a lot of you dum-dums are making fun of because it has a big head. I think that big head makes it even cuter. That is one of the cutest damn babies I've ever seen in my life, which, by the way, Paris in Love, Paris Hilton's reality show, the second season premieres this week, where she reveals to Kathy Hilton with the baby in her arms that she had a baby. And Kathy's like, what? I thought you were Kyle. What? I was like, oh my God. So I cannot wait to watch that. There's new episodes that came out today of Squid Game, the reality series on Netflix that I can't wait to have time to watch, because I watched the first 5 episodes over Thanksgiving and I thought that was great. So I watched Salt Lake City and I watched Winter House. And Winter House, what is this, episode 5 or it didn't add much. Like, there was a house party, and I don't know, maybe it's just my mood. But and also this Alex guy from Below Deck, Danielle hooked up with, but he flirts with everybody in the house. And I just don't know if I see the charm. But obviously, he must just be so charming because everybody wants to hook up with him. But I'm just like, girls, you're doing it to yourself. Like, why are you doing this? And Danielle, did you see this today? Danielle, she's it came out that she has a relationship, or like a situationship, or the starting of a relationship with what's his nuts from Southern Hospitality. I'm trying to find his name right now, you guys, but he's one of the bartenders from Southern Hospitality, which is always like, oh yeah, that's going to be great. That's going to work out real great. Um, what is this? I'm trying to find. Where is the post? I don't know. But anyways, it got put out today that she's dating this guy. What is his name? Joe or something? But I think this is also weird because Southern Hospitality season 2 premieres like next week. So this is an interesting time for that information to get put out there. Like, I don't know if sometimes I don't know if these things are real or if it's just good promotion for a show. So you can go, by the way, Southern Hospitality is coming back next week. I want Danielle to be happy. I just sometimes worry about the guys that Danielle seems to be choosing. But also, not just that, it's just like from Winter House last night, Danielle seems to be then upset when she realizes she's picked the wrong guy and they're guys that are kind of fuckboys, and then she's like, oh God. And then at the end of the night still goes back to him. Why do women do that? Just assume we are all evil. Just assume that. And also, if you want to just straight hook up, which I wish we could do live polls on this show, because how many women and how many men are okay with just straight up hooking up without getting emotions involved? It seems like people will say that, but then emotions still get involved. I feel like there is no just straight hooking up for the sake of hooking up. I feel like emotions always get involved. And it pains you because you're like, oh, I like Danielle. Why is she tripped up on this guy? He literally just wanted to put it in. He just wanted to hook up. And he likes you, but he doesn't like you. In fact, this guy probably wouldn't like anybody. He wants to do a mass casualty event where he can sleep with as many people as he possibly can. But I feel like that's like a weird kind of shitty magician, because in terms of Bravo, if you do that, eventually people are wise to your act, and you can't keep doing that season after season unless you're on Vanderpump Rules, and then you totally can. Which, by the way, Vanderpump Rules, they had a new teaser out today for the new season premiering in January, where it showed everybody with the clicker, like action, it showed all of them sitting down for talking head interviews. So no real like new footage, but just new footage of them sitting down for their talking head. Also, Ariana Madix has made it another week on Dancing with the Stars. There was an interesting thing. Nobody went home last night on Dancing with the Stars. So the bottom 2 couples were Ariana and Pasha and Xochitl from the Marvel movie, who those are like the top contenders, I feel. And they were supposedly in the bottom 2 couples, but then they didn't send anybody home. So Ariana survives another week. This is intense. And how much longer does this show go? Because Special Forces, by the way, on Fox, they had their season finale this past week. And I've got to tell you, I've watched every episode of Special Forces. It's a different sort of reality show. It's a little slow and meandering, but I really enjoy watching celebrities cry. I really enjoy watching. Oh, and by the way, you're going to hear some bangs during this. Somebody's on the roof right now fixing the roof. So you'll hear some bangs and stuff. So I'm sorry about that. I had to start recording, so I'm sorry. I understand if that's annoying you. Now you're going to be listening to it or for it. But yeah, Special Forces season finale was this week. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the final 3, it was the Olympian, Nick Vialli from the podcast, the Vialli Files, and Jason Cameron, or Tyler Cameron, sorry. Jason's from Winter House. Tyler Cameron from the Bachelor franchise. And they were the final 3. But it was kind of like I don't know. It wasn't really any big finish for me. I thought it was going to be more exciting, but it kind of was like a standard episode of Special Forces. But I will say, I found myself to be a Special Forces fan, so I will watch the next season of Special Forces. And I kind of like, which celebrities would you like to see? Because I'll always now pick a couple of Bravo people, a couple of Bachelor people, and some people from. Then they'll actually pick real athletes. You had real athletes on this show. You had Tara Reid, who went home in the first week. You had Black China. I mean, you had JoJo Siwa, who I was really hoping would win. The only thing that I think I would be good at in the final episode, they did like this torture thing where they made a couple of people like be on their knees with their hands behind their back, and on headphones, they played nonstop babies crying. And I think that's the only challenge that I was like, I think I could do that. Yeah, I think I could do that. The other ones, my knee would give out immediately, but the baby's crying in a headphone, I think I could totally zone out and probably even potentially fall asleep during that. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, sad news. Taylor Armstrong has announced she will not be back for season 18 of Real Housewives of Orange County. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the right move. She probably wasn't asked back, but I think it's always classy when Bravo or the production company lets them make that announcement themselves that they're not coming back. And even though I did enjoy the fight about IMDb, the Internet Movie Database that she had with Miss Heather Dubrow, I enjoyed that very much. But I do see a world in which it's not necessary to have her back. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just don't think the show necessarily needs it. I think the same thing about Mary Cosby on Salt Lake City. I think next season, even though Mary Cosby, by the way, was at Kathy Hilton's Christmas party, which was held last night at Kathy Hilton's home, and Mary Cosby actually fucking showed up to this thing. Imagine, I mean, Kathy, come on, man. That's my ultimate girls trip. Just Kathy Hilton and Mary Cosby. Just Kathy Hilton and Mary Cosby. I don't need any other housewives. Just those two, just being batshit with each other, just talking about shit, eating caviar on potatoes, just saying mean, weird stuff, misidentifying people. That's all I need. But Mary Cosby was there, and I was just like, to be a fly on the wall, to hear her have a conversation with anybody there, because it was a who's who. You had a lot of the Salt Lake cast there. You had Sheena there. You had the D'Amelios there. You had Heather Dubrow there. You had Freddie Mellencamp. She was interviewing people on the Step and Repeat for like Access Hollywood, one of those things. It just seemed to be hysterical. So that was last night. And then tonight's going to be that Spago dinner. And I'm hoping a lot of those housewives are going to be there. And hopefully I'll take you with me. I'll talk about it on the show on Friday on the Beverly Hills Recap. And hopefully I'll be able to get some video as well to share with you guys. But I'm sure you saw some of those pictures. Pretty wild. But let's get into this recap. But before we do, somebody sent me a message last night. And I wanted to read it because it reminds me of just that there's so much going on right now. And if I can provide a laugh for anybody, that's kind of what we're here to do. This is a message I got that says, please don't feel the need to respond. Wanted to, my dad is in hospice, and I've been driving back and forth for 3 weeks. So I ran out of content. I saw that you posted Beverly Hills Recap today, and I was literally LOLing the whole way, and I really appreciated it. I'm fine, by the way. It's been a long haul. Thanks for the horrible impressions, the larva comments, and the pube jokes. Thank you. That message made me laugh, and I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about your dad. I realize we are all going through things, and I keep thinking about what my dad said on Monday's episode that really rings true in regards to our situation, is that we are not special. Everybody goes through this, and the more that we can support each other, I guess that's what it's all about. Because when I think about death now, it's just such a black hole, and you can go down a black hole in your mind if you keep thinking about it. But the thing that I'm finding is best for me is to try to be out there and be silly, and to try to make myself laugh with horrible impressions and tons of pubic hair jokes. I mean, that really is the only that's just what the doctor ordered. But anyways, I just wanted to thank you for that message. Hopefully you're listening to this and hopefully you are getting through this, but we are all thinking about you. So yeah, so let's get into some more pubic jokes. I don't know if there's any in the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap, but let's find out together. Now, I want to say, like I said, I was like neither here nor there with this episode, but there are certain scenes in this episode that I think are amazing. The Meredith Marks Lisa Barlow scene when Lisa Barlow is dressed head to toe in red at the restaurant. For me, it was like that movie Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and they finally sit down at a table and start talking. To me, Meredith Marks and Lisa Barlow are my Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. I'm like, it's flying. They're talking and the way that they batshit crazy talk at each other, I think is truly spectacular. They've also provided two of the best moments on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, of course, I'm going to play you the one that from this season from Miss Meredith Marks.
If I were to go for the jugular and talk about the rumors, the nastiness about her, I can do that. You know what? You want me to go there with her husband? I can go there. Don't. With me. Okay, tell her to off.
Oh, fuck off. You attacking about the view? I mean, truly something that I think about every day. Meredith Marks hitting it out of the park early in the season. Like I've said, I feel like she benched herself. She benched herself later in this season, but she comes back with a couple good scenes in this. But Lisa Barlow, I love Lisa Barlow. Lisa Barlow has turned into one of my favorite housewives because, like I always say, she is unapologetically herself. To me, there's a little bit of Sutton Strack in there where I'm like, I understand when people have issues with them, but I just love them because you can tell things really get to Lisa Barlow. Things get to Meredith, but there's not a rise above attitude, but an above it all attitude. And Lisa Barlow, she tries to have this above it all attitude, but you can tell things really bother her. And I want to throw it back to an amazing Lisa Barlow hot mic moment from last season, which, by the way, we got at the very end of this episode, Lisa Barlow ripping off her mic pack once again. And these things need to be stapled to the housewives. So we need to have some kind of lock, like a chastity belt or something where they can't tear off these microphone packs. It feels too easy. It feels like they know how to do it immediately. And it's like, no, Shannon Bedore did the same thing on Orange County this season. And I think it just has to be stopped. It's a no-no. I talk about fining housewives. This should be an automatic $5,000 fine if you take off the mic pack. So this is a throwback to Lisa Barlow's hot mic moment from last season. Oh my God, I'm having the worst issues with technology today. F-tech, you can fuck off, as Meredith Marks would say. But basically, that is the Lisa Barlow hot mic moment. I'll have to add that in later. But basically, what she said, just to remind everybody, is Meredith can go fuck herself. I'm done with her because I'm not a fucking whore and I don't cheat on my husband. Her and her dumb fucking family that poses. Why don't you own a house? Oh, wait, you can't because your husband changes jobs every 5 minutes. Meredith is a piece of fucking shit. I had your back and I'm offended by that. Fuck you. That fucking piece of shit garbage whore. I fucking hate her. She's a whore. She fucked half of New York. She can go fuck herself. Woo! So when we think about Meredith Marks doing something like this...
If I were to go for the jugular and talk about the rumors, the nastiness about her... I can do that. You know?
I mean, it's not even, that Lisa Barlow one, these are really great companion clips and shows just two people at the top of their games having breakdowns on camera. We are so lucky to see it. So I just want to remind people of that because I find it interesting when they have this conversation in the restaurant with each other. It's wild to me. I'm like, you guys are playing at the same level. Nobody is better or worse in this. You guys are pretty equal. I wouldn't necessarily say they're like the Batman and the Joker. Like my thing was like with Giselle and Karen from Real Housewives of Potomac, I would always say they need each other. They're like the Batman and Joker. Batman needs Joker. That's like the main villain. That's the main hero. And they need each other to survive. And Meredith and Lisa give similar vibes in a certain way to me that they both kind of need each other. So, anyways, this episode is episode 12 of the season, and it's called Icy Apologies. Icy Apologies. Ooh, I like that we're keeping the winter theme of Salt Lake City. Always amazing. Now, this is the description of this episode. This is a wild description, folks. It says, in the majestic mountains of Utah is a hidden social circle made up of successful women who have created their own paradise filled with luxury homes, shopping sprees, and multi-million-dollar business and brands. This doesn't feel like a description of the episode. This feels like a description for the whole series, but also this description for the whole series makes it sound like it's like the Illuminati. Like there's a hidden social circle of women that talk about the rumors and the husbands. But I mean, it's like Yellow Jackets or something. I was like, I read that description and I was like, oh shit, now that's a description. A hidden social circle? Holy moly, that got me so excited when I read that, even though it really wasn't specific to this episode at all. I think this might be a misprint on Peacock's website, but my God, what a great misprint. I just thought that was amazing. So anyways, we start off this episode with scenes from the previous episodes. And of course, last week's episode, we had Hanging by a Thread, the insanely good podcast by Meredith and Seth Marks. What's up? I'm Seth. I'm a podcasting king. Is your Spotify Wrapped Hanging by a Thread with Seth and Meredith, or Meredith and Seth? Hey! But they had Whitney and Justin on their podcast to talk about their relationship issues. So we saw that last week. And then we also see a scene from earlier in the season between Whitney and Justin where she's like, to see your wedding ring in the drawer every day, it hurts my feelings. And in A Talking Head, she's like, when we got married 14 years ago, I don't know what to do to fix that core connection. And then, of course, we go to a scene between Lisa talking about getting her friendship with Meredith back with Whitney and Angie K, and talking about, I'm going to pump the brakes with that relationship after Palm Springs. Because remember, Meredith did that, Boomas and the husband. She did that to Lisa Barlow in Palm Springs. And Lisa Barlow was like, what the fuck's going on? Because Lisa Barlow's like, I'm just happy to have her back in my life. But she is wild. And also, let's just call it out. Meredith Marks was shit-faced in that scene. Then we go to a scene with Heather Gay, who's at a tiki bar. Because sure, Salt Lake City, you think tiki bars. She's in a scene with newcomer Monica Garcia, and Heather's like, what if we got everybody together and went to Bermuda, like for your birthday? And Monica's like, oh my God, I would die. And Heather's like, but you got to make up with Lisa. You got to do it. And Angie K, by the way, agreed and said she would. And then we go to the bonnet scene. I'm going to throw my blue bonnet I got from Amazon just to even talk about this iconic scene from last week's episode where they're churning butter in a masturbatory fashion. And Lisa and Monica immediately go after each other at this, because Lisa said, I wouldn't have Monica on my covered wagon because she is mean to other women. And Monica was like, screw you. And all the ladies were like, Monica, bring it down. You're being crazy. Remember Angie K, which, by the way, found out this week, Angie K, Greek. And she threw a glass and she was like, Hopa! Which, wouldn't you love another My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but it's just Angie K? Like, Angie K is the lead character in My Big Fat Greek Wedding 4, Electric Boogaloo. And Heather, by the way, Heather is kind of like, Monica, please. Heather is so interesting because Heather she's like, she'll play both sides. And Heather watches these shows and studies housewife shows. You can tell. And you can tell she read a lot about the fan reaction about her living in Jen Shah's asshole these past couple of seasons. But it's interesting, when she's on a one-on-one scene, she'll be your best friend. But in a group setting, she's kind of leaving Monica hanging out to dry just a little bit. So anyways, Monica, remember at the end of that scene, was like, I don't want to go to Bermuda anymore. I'm just done. I'm done. Monica is fascinating. She has all the colors of the rainbow. And one of those colors of the rainbow is being a little wackadoo. And Monica, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but that's just what we're seeing. But you're also so many other shades. I also want to give a special shout out to this episode for not having your mom in it. Vovo is not in this episode. It would be great if you look in the background and she's just peeking out behind bushes in half the scenes. But it was refreshing to not have Monica's mom in this episode at all. But we left off going, oh shit, Monica doesn't want to go to Bermuda, for her birthday for this cast trip. She's just one of those people that like seems to get upset. And when you get her upset, she's done. She gets to a point where she's done. She's not going to play nice. She doesn't care if cameras are on her. It's not worth it. And I got to tell you, I kind of respect it. Okay, so we open up this week's episode on the beautiful vista of Salt Lake City, the mean streets of Salt Lake City. Somebody left a comment I saw the other day on YouTube of going, have you ever been to Salt Lake City? This is not how they are at all. No shit. I don't think everybody is like these housewives in Salt Lake City. My God. If it was, I mean, they should secede from the union. They shouldn't even be a part of this glorious country because Salt Lake City would explode if everybody was like these housewives. Like the description says, this is a secret society of women. So we open up with the music. Ha, ha, ha. We see deers. We see a bird flying. And we land over at Angie K's house. She is preparing some snackies. And we get a doorbell. And it's Heather Gay. And there's like a nice charcuterie. And Heather's like, okay, I'll just let myself in. And Angie's like, are you ready for the celebration? And then Heather's like, coming to your house. I mean, it's just so amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Angie. And they hug. Do you guys, I was thinking about it. Do you guys hug everybody when you see them? Like, when you see somebody, do you hug them? Because there's always housewife hugs. And I know a lot of people do that, but there's the housewife hug. You look great. Everything's great. You got to comment immediately. So Heather's like, amazing snack tray. We see wine has been put out. We see some sad little bread. And Angie K serves her some wine. Really, really nice. Okay, so they're talking about Heather's like, where did it all go wrong? And they're like, oh, the minute we started the wagon game. And then they flash back to all of them in bonnets again. And I'm sorry, but every time I see the bonnets, I feel like anytime we do any fights from here on out on any of the reality shows, we need to put everybody in bonnets because it all started with, Lisa, who are you kicking off your wagon train? And Lisa's like, the one that's nastiest to women. So Monica, you would have to go. And then Angie's like, I think that set her off. It was like she just came in hot again with the insults. We flash back to it. And Lisa is like, Monica, the way you treated your mother. And Monica immediately goes, you're so ugly. You got a fat ass. They just immediately with not even an argument, just you're ugly. You are ugly. And I think that's a pretty brutal thing to say. And then Heather's like, yeah, at that moment, Monica just completely shut down. And it was weird. The whole thing is weird. We're on a reality show. All of this is weird. I like when housewives get together after a big fight and they're like, isn't it so weird there was a big fight? No, it's exactly, the minute there's a big fight, the people that are not involved in the fight, they probably go home that day and like high five themselves of like, fuck yes, that was a good day in reality television, or at least they should. Also after, while they're taking off their bonnets, they should be very thankful. Heather's like, I'm starting to realize I can never really count on what you're going to get with Monica, she says in a talking head. She could be up and happy and charming and fun. And we flash back to the tiki bar where they're making jokes about the drinks having some girth. And what I think that is, folks, make sure you kick the kids out of the car. I think they're talking about girth and kind of relating it to penises. Yeah, to cocks. Saying a girthy old cock with their drinks. So they're being dirty fun, as you do, having drinks at a tiki bar. And Heather loves that. But Heather's saying Monica is all over the place sometimes. But that's kind of what I love about Monica. So then Heather's like, but she can also be angry and vicious and mean. Have we seen Monica go after Heather Gay yet? Because I think that's where we're headed toward at the end of the season, and also the Beauty Lab and Laser lawsuits that they're throwing at each other. I mean, that's kind of mean in terms of the court of law. But yeah, Monica, like I said, has all of the rainbow. We also flash back to the Palm Springs vacation now when they're all in the Sprinter van and they were dressed up like drag queens. And Monica's yelling at Angie going, Angie, you live up Lisa Barlow's ass, so stay there. And then Heather in the talking head goes, but she can also be detached and vacant. Now, I know Heather is stating a fact, but everything that Heather is saying kind of makes me love Monica more. You're telling me she can do 30 things at once? She's like an amazing housewife Swiss Army knife. She has everything. So we're back in this scene, and Heather's like, I need Monica to find her energy for this Bermuda trip. But Heather goes, and as much as I don't want it to, she kind of reminds me of Jen. And then we get a flashback to last season with Jen Shah doing her karaoke moments, screaming, yelling, having fun, and then being insane from the first season where she throws a glass 1 year earlier when Jen Shah's crying and screaming. And Heather goes, I'm drawn like a moth to a flame with these personality types. I've been burned, and I want to learn from my history and not make the same mistakes again. I'm sorry. I am not going to... This is probably unpopular, but I'm sorry. Do not, Heather, you willfully lived up Jen Shah's asshole. You know, I'm sorry, you made excuses for Jen, even when Jen wasn't around. You, I like now your position is, I guess there's something in me that is just drawn to these types of people. If you're drawn to these types of people, set up boundaries for yourself. They're called boundaries. I love it's the easiest thing, but yes, you knew that going in, that Monica actually worked with Jen Shah. We said this from the very first episode. We said this. And I think now her posing this as a realization, I don't know. And it's like little old me. She knows the bed in which she lies. But she also says, I can't figure her out. And I really, really like her. And Angie K is just this whole time just sipping her wine, happy to be in a scene, loving to be a housewife. But Heather's like, sometimes I just can't get through to her. I've kind of jumped in like I always do. Wouldn't it be great if Monica actually gives Heather a black eye like Jen Shah probably did last season? Or they're like scissor sisters or something like that? But listen, Heather, I think this is a little bit of thou doth protest so much. So Angie's like, but this is who you are. This is who you are. But she's like, yeah, I jump in head first, but also I've never been to Bermuda. I want it to be a fun trip, Heather says. I don't feel like trashing the trip or throwing it away, but I'm worried that I don't want Pioneer Day Part 2 to happen in Bermuda. I want Pioneer Day Part 3, Part 4, but bring the bonnets to Bermuda. I mean, that's the episode title, Bonnets in Bermuda. But Heather is smarter than most of these women because Heather is not, I'm trying to say this in a nice way. You know how Lisa and Meredith are themselves in the weirdest way possible? Heather's aware of logical thinking. Even if she doesn't think logically sometimes, she's aware of what that looks like, and she's aware of the people that she is in scenes with. So when she positions scenes as a discovery or this or that, she already knows all of this information. So I find it interesting. But Angie's like, that's her pattern. It's she comes in hot, and then she feels bad or embarrassed and apologizes. I think we need to go on this trip, but I think you need to call her before and just work through it, talk to her one-on-one. And then Heather's like, well, I'm sure I'm going to see her at Meredith's jewelry event. So we have another event. My God, the amount of events you have in Housewives. So this is all based around Meredith Marks jewelry event, which I looked up some of the prices for Meredith Marks jewelry. It is, it's not for the regulars like you and me. There is nothing I can afford at Meredith Marks. And Meredith's like, good, you don't deserve any of it, Ryan. It's not for the poors. It's classy jewelry for people like me and Seth that are hanging by a thread. So now we set up the scenes for this. Like, okay, we're going to have this conversation between Heather and Monica probably at the jewelry event. I just like that they set this up for the audience of like, so the audience is like, oh, good, another event this episode. And then Angie K's like, oh, yes, the jewelry event, the one that I'm not invited to, that I've heard all about. Everyone's invited except me, which is totally fine. I have Greek things to do that night anyways. But she's like, Heather, let me know how it goes, because Meredith doesn't dick around. Meredith is, Meredith's been with Salt Lake City from the beginning. So she's like, I'm not going to invite that bitch. I don't need to invite that bitch. Sorry, you're not going. And that probably crushes Angie K. Angie K needs to show up and make a Meredith Marks jewelry shirt like she did at Meredith Marks' event in Palm Springs that she showed up to that she wasn't invited to. I like that probably Mary Cosby was even invited and Angie K was never invited. But she lets Heather know. She's like, I'm really curious to see how. And Heather's like, well, this trip is hanging in the balance, truly. Oh my God, folks, these are high stakes. The trip to Bermuda is hanging in the balance because of Monica. We need to figure this out now. So we get a tight shot of Heather, like just thinking about everything that they're talking about. Now we're back on the mean streets of Salt Lake City. We are in a Tesla, and we've got Whitney doing the little Whitney dance. She's in the car with Justin, and this is a very kind of serious scene. But before we get into that, I want to point out that they are wearing matching Gucci t-shirts. And I've always said the couple that wears matching Gucci t-shirts stays together. But it is kind of ridiculous. It took me the second viewing when I was like, oh shit, they're wearing matching Gucci t-shirts. And this is why that I think that their relationship is not nearly in as much trouble as they try to present it as their storyline this season. And I really like Whitney, but I think I don't think this was a coincidence. I don't think Justin was like, oh shit, we're both wearing Gucci shirts. Oh no, I think it's like, we've got to wear our Gucci shirts, babe. Put it on. We're doing a scene. We want to match in this scene, babe. Like, this isn't Halloween. Like, they're wearing matching Gucci shirts, talking about how their relationship is like maybe in shambles. And I'm like, you're wearing matching shirts. I think you're okay. So Whitney goes, sometimes I feel, does therapy help or make it worse? Because I think they're on their way to therapy. And Justin's just sitting there, and Justin's like, both. It makes it worse for the short term, I think. Well, we were talking about, and Whitney's like, we were talking about finances and bills and like how I handle all that. And then he's like, all right, don't have that conversation. And Justin's like, yeah, he shut you down. He shut you down about that. Whitney's like, he shut me down. And it's almost like, is the therapist stirring the pot or helping us? And she's like, where are you at? Do you feel like it's helping? And he's like, I don't know. Like, my favorite thing is when we talk it through, like, with other couples, like even Meredith and Seth. So Justin is now saying that hanging by a thread, the Meredith and Seth Marks podcast has potentially done more to help their relationship than their actual therapy. Hey, we got a good review. We've saved another marriage, Meredith. Me, Seth Marks from Canton, Ohio. I'm saving marriages. Hey, Whitney, since I helped save your marriage, can I see your tatas? I love tatas. All right. Hey, you're wearing matching Gucci shirts again. That's hot. So, of course, we flash back to this podcast where Justin is talking about Whitney, like, realizing that she's actually going through her own trauma, but part of that is potentially her isolating him from her. And Seth is like, yeah, two drowning people, they can't save each other. Yeah. So Seth says like really pearls of wisdom like that. And then Meredith hops in. He says, yeah, you just can't save each other. You're just going to pull each other down. It's just going to happen like that. So then Whitney gets a buzz on her phone and she reads it and she's like, oh shit. I just got a really bad message. And she says, Sherry's being intubated. And this is really, really sad. So this is her best friend, Sherry, who was actually at her event with the Sound Bowls a couple of weeks ago. And Whitney lets us know that she just saw her this past Monday and she couldn't even get off the couch. And she says she's known Sherry since she was 23 years old. We see pictures of their relationship. She's been all to the major events in my life. We see clips of Sherry in all of the scenes, even the first scene from the flapper party that they had from 2020, the first season of the show. And we find out she's been fighting cancer. And it's like the most helpless feeling to know, she says, that her friend is suffering and she can't do anything about it. And she has no idea how to cope with that. And she tells Justin, I'm trying not to cry, but I think we're losing her. And he's like, yeah. And she's trying not to cry. She says on Monday when I sat with her, like that's what we talked about, was like, she said she knows death is here. And she's trying not to cry because she actually has makeup on for a scene. And this is just, like I said, it's incredibly sad. Justin says he's sick to his stomach. And she says, my best friend is dying of cancer. And when you really like take a look around and see the bigger picture, like us, me and you, Justin, not seeing eye to eye, is it really that bad of a thing? It definitely seems like our problems are pretty trivial, he tells her. And she says, well, I think as long as we both still want to be married, then we're winning, she tells him, and kind of lets out a light chuckle. And she lets us know in a talking head that her and Justin have been married for 14 years and they've come so far, working through communication breakdowns, working through how has my trauma bled into the marriage. We've been working on so many things, but like knowing that each other, that we're still in it, makes it easier to work for it. Justin says, if you're willing to fight, then you can get through anything. So she says, we're both still fighting, right? And he's like, I think so. Like, I'm still fighting. He should be like, look at me. I'm in a fucking matching Gucci shirt. I think I'm actually fully in it. Now, I don't know. Like, you know, when I first saw this scene, I said, well, listen, this is a scene about Sherry. I don't know if that phone call or that text was, I think this is a scene that this conversation was going to take place, but it's a very real conversation. And I don't mind when reality shows do that. I don't necessarily mind because this is a real event in her life. So to get it on the show, you have to have something like that. I don't think this was a scene that was supposed to be about something else. And then she randomly got a text message. But I don't mind that because I think this is these real conversations. Like I always talk about that idea of giving it a foundation. This is really intense. Everybody goes through this. And that idea of feeling helpless. I mean, I just went through that. A lot of you guys have gone through that or will go through that. And then when you look at other aspects of your life, you're like, oh, fuck. Who cares if I paid my American Express bill on time? Actually, I'm just American Express. If you're listening, I do care. I'm so sorry that I didn't pay it on time. I care. Okay. But it does make it seem like, listen, we're both still in this. We aren't dying. There are people who are dying, and it gives you a little perspective. But you know what I always said? Like, I always thought I was going to die young. And I always like, well, I hope I don't die. And it's like that TV movie where they're like, Ryan's life taught me a lesson about life. Like, I never wanted to be a lesson for somebody else of like, Ryan taught me bravery and courage and strength. Like, it would be more like, Ryan really, he really cried a lot towards the end. He felt it was very unfair. He really hated the thought that everybody was going to still stay around and not him. Really hated that. He said he didn't want any of us to have a good time without him. Like, like I didn't want to teach anybody. It wasn't like, what a beautiful spirit that taught me how to appreciate everything around me. Like, no, it was like that guy was annoying as fuck towards the end. It was really brutal. So this was actually a really intense scene. And my heart went out to Whitney, and we deal with the repercussions of that in the final scenes at Meredith's jewelry event. So we cut to commercial, we come back, and this is one of my favorite scenes. We're at Toscano, this restaurant. And Lisa Barlow pops out of her car and she's like, the lady in red is dancing with me, cheek to cheek. Remember that song from the 80s by Simply Red, The Lady in Red? I think that was the band, right? But she pops out of this thing, even red glasses, red head to toe, looking like she's about to sell real estate for the Selling Sunset crew. And she pulls up to this Toscano restaurant. She's like, hi, how are you? And they're like, welcome to Toscano. I'm meeting a girlfriend here. And then all of a sudden, outside, Meredith Marks gets dropped off, which is very smart because Meredith Marks probably is going to have a drink. So Meredith, like, she comes in, she's like, I'm meeting somebody here. And the hostess is like, is it the lady in red? It's, yeah, man, I'm willing to bet that you're meeting the lady in red. Like, let me guess, the lady in full head to toe red. We see a shot of Lisa Barlow intensely studying the Toscano menu. Meredith comes out and he's like, hi. And Meredith's like, oh my God. It's like red, white, and blue. Because Meredith, I think, is wearing like a blue leather getup with like a white kind of shirt. And Lisa's like, yeah, we got it covered with the colors. And Lisa's like, did you bring me fresh churned butter? A throwback to churning butter from last week. And they both laugh. The guy sits down to take their order. He's like, welcome to Toscano. Do you guys have any drinks in mind? And Lisa immediately hits him with like, I'm going to take a Vita Sunset. And this is my question. Like, I like Vita Tequila. I've had it. Great. But does every restaurant in Salt Lake City carry Vita Tequila? Do they have signature Vita Tequila drinks at every restaurant? Or, I know I'm being conspiratorial, or does Lisa just make that up to sound like people carry Vita Tequila drinks at every restaurant they go into? Now, I did my research and I went on the Toscano website, but they just had the food options. And then I was like, should I call Toscano and say, do you guys have the Vita Sunset or whatever that drink's name was on the menu? Because wouldn't that just be baller if just for the cameras, she's like, I'll take a Vita Sunset. And he's like, sure, LOL. Meredith's like, yeah, I'm going to take a glass of Cabernet, please. And they order some food, a little pizza, some clams, some mussels, great stuff. But so they're getting the menus out of the way. And now they are just sitting there. Just two powerhouses. They're both smiling, laughing. Everything's okay in this moment. And also, Meredith Marks ordered a Diet Coke, and Lisa loved that. She's like, oh my God, look at you with your Diet Coke. And Meredith shares with us, she's like, I get dehydrated. I get all kinds of muscle cramps. I'm sure sometimes I take extra pills to just loosen me up because of the muscle cramps. So I'm loose. I'm loose, baby. So Lisa's like, oh my God, you were having those in Palm Springs. And then Lisa's like, oh my God, are those your earrings? Talking about the earrings that Meredith Marks is wearing, like these really kind of silver, I think kind of hoopy things potentially. And she's like, is this a part of your new collection? Lisa Barlow, she fucking knows how to sell shit. Always ordering Vita. Throwing a bone out to her friend Meredith Marks about her jewelry. She's like, oh my God, that's amazing. So we've got the ads right out of the way. And Meredith's like, you'll see everything pretty soon at the event. And Lisa's like, oh my God, I'm excited to see all your new pieces. I love these. And Meredith gives her a nice smile. Thank you. They're like gorgeous. So the drinks get served. So we're imbibing alcohol. The mussels get served. Still everything good. Very complimentary. No drama at all. This could be a very nice scene. And then Meredith goes, did you and Monica get to a place of peace? And Lisa's like, I think so. I don't even know what the issue is. You don't even know what the issue is. I mean, there's a lot of issues. There's not just one issue. And she's like, it's frustrating. And do you notice how Lisa Barlow doesn't say frustrating? She says frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because arguments with Monica, they don't go anywhere. It's like, you're ugly. Fix your fucking face. Get some Botox, girl. Get some filler. Like, I'm at a different stage in my life. I've never talked like that to a woman in my life. Okay, this is, like I said, I love Lisa Barlow, but I will say that I do think she has potentially talked that way to women in her life, i.e., the scene from last season where she called Meredith Marks a fucking whore. Like, I mean, she has talked that way to women. I hate to point out that, but she has. But Lisa's like, you can't keep attacking somebody. You can't do that and expect them to just sit there and take it all the time. There is just so much low hanging fruit with Monica. Like, if I wanted to attack, I could. So, and then Meredith's like, well, speaking of that, I just want to clear the air on something. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I need to understand. It's very calm still right now, even though there's like a little subtle kind of name 'em. It's a little sudden. Name 'em. I'm not upset. I'm not upset. Name 'em. She's like, I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I just need to understand just a little something. It's like, okay. What was said about? I was a little perplexed by it. Did you tell Angie that I threatened her? And Lisa immediately doesn't even look shocked. She's like, no, I didn't tell Angie you threatened her. You said she's lucky. What's the word? Whatever you said to me outside of the restaurant. And we cut back to our favorite scene. If I want to go to the jugular and talk about this shit, the rumors, the nastiness about her, I can do that. And you know what? You want me to go there with your husband? I can go there. And then we cut to a scene of Lisa Barlow later going, she's not spreading rumors. She's dropping the grenade by saying, she's lucky I didn't say the things about her husband. And Angie's like, yo, that's actually making accusations, Lisa. So Meredith back in this scene at Toscano goes, that's what I thought. I wanted to check in. I just wanted to check in. Only because it's very interesting, because some of the wording you just said to me regarding Monica, that's what made me think of it right now. That's what okay, yeah, that she's lucky was very similar. So these are like two pros. Lisa's like, is she attacking me? Is she not? What's going on here? And Meredith obviously already has a predisposition about what she thinks Lisa did. I just like, it just sounds a little curious because of what you just said to me about Monica. So these are two brainiacs. And she's like, the message I gave you, there's just a lot of stuff accusing me about threatening. And that's just not a threat. It's not a threat. And Lisa's like, I don't think that's the same thing. The whole thing with Angie, I don't like even, do you want me to say what I know about the husband? Do you know what I mean? Like things like that. I don't want anyone saying about you. I think it's disgusting. I don't like it. It feels very icky. And I don't want to be around this anymore. I just don't. And we get to a talking head with Meredith. And Meredith's like, I'm just really disappointed because Lisa and I agreed to discuss issues as they came up. And we get a flashback to earlier in the season where Meredith and Lisa are in like a frozen tundra of Salt Lake. And Meredith's like, moving forward, we communicate, we just do. We communicate. And Lisa is like shaking her head. Yes. And if you're sensing something, Lisa, tell me. Just tell me. That's all I ask. And Lisa's like, I agree. And Meredith in the talking head goes, so I don't know what's going on here, but it's definitely unsettling. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel good. It's not what we agreed on. And Lisa in the Toscano scene goes, for me, it was very triggering. Well, I'm sorry it was triggering for you, Lisa. But what I'm not going to do is have this like hypocritical conversation. What you're telling me is going on with Monica is she's playing victim to your reaction to her bad behavior. Yeah, in my opinion, that's what you're saying. And that, Lisa Barlow, is called manipulation. And Lisa goes, yes, it felt manipulated. That's exactly what Angie did to me. And for her now to play victim to my reaction to her is bad behavior. It's called manipulation, Lisa Barlow. It's called gaslighting. That's what it's called. And Lisa is just staring at her. At this point, I'm confused about this whole conversation, but I'm loving watching every minute of it. Like I said, just two brainiacs just going toe to toe, and Meredith making this big point of like, well, that's exactly what Angie K is doing now, based on what I said about the rumors about her husband. But at the end of the day, it's Angie K's fault. It's very simple. And she drinks she drinks a sip of her wine, just very self-satisfied, of like, I just gave Lisa Barlow the business, And she goes, you had an issue with Angie. Oh, sorry. Lisa goes, you had an issue with Angie because you said she can never be friends with someone like you. And then you took it up 8 levels and said, things about her husband, her family, her business. And the bottom line is that's not what's happening with me and Monica. Monica's just being a bitch. You're being deceptive. So that was in a talking head. And I love that Lisa doesn't say that necessarily in this scene like that, but she's like, it's very different. You're being a bitch. Everything's different with Angie. And Lisa in this scene goes, there's nothing out there about her though. And just like, there's stuff. She's like, there is stuff. Oh, there's stuff, all right. There is stuff out there about Angie K because I've been sent stuff. I have. And Lisa's like, so this is probably the stuff about the husband. What have you been sent? Is there like manila envelopes being dropped off at your like Meredith Marks jewelry store? Like you've been sent stuff? Show us the stuff. Give it to the producers so they can put it in the show. And Lisa goes, I just think like even saying it's just as bad because it leaves people's minds to wander. And look at what Monica, okay, you're living in La La Land then, Lisa. No, I'm not. I don't have a place in La La Land. And she's like, Lisa, there's stuff out there about me. There's stuff out there about you. There is. There's stuff out there about every single one of us. It doesn't make it true and it doesn't make it good. And Lisa's like, it doesn't make it good. And it doesn't make it okay to threaten with it. You can't use the word threat, Lisa Barlow. By definition, it's wrong. It is. So by saying I would never do that, you're going off the word intention. And Lisa goes, that's not my intention. You're going off the word intention. That's not my intention. But you did, Lisa Barlow. Whitney said that you said to her... No, sorry. Lisa Barlow said, Whitney said that you said to her, I could ruin her life. I could ruin anybody's life. So could you, Lisa Barlow. So could anybody under the sun. We all could. That doesn't mean you're going to. And Lisa's just staring. And I just think this is truly what it's all about, folks. This is what the Housewives is all about. I just love their staring faces, their listening faces. And Lisa's like, I don't want to talk about anybody else, but just between me and you, because we're friends and we're working on a new friendship that's better than the last one. And Meredith goes, wait. I'm just confused. Like after Palm Springs, I pumped the brakes because it evoked a lot of feelings in me that I'm like, that's not something I like. So, let me get this. So did you pump the brakes with Angie then too? Did you, Lisa Barlow? No, I didn't pump the brakes with Angie, but I had a direct, so you were fine with the way that Angie K, the way she treats me. But I'm not fine with the way she treats you, which was very minor in comparison to the way she treated me, caused you to pump the brakes with me. I'm not getting in between the two of you. You are supporting... Then Meredith goes, you were supporting her, but you're pumping the brakes with me? I'm not supporting her. I'm not supporting her, Meredith Marks. I'm not... Let's make this clear. I'm not the one bringing this tornado through. Nor do I feel I need to be, because I know karma comes back. It does. So that's how this scene ends, which is kind of another Meredith Marks threat. I think karma comes back is very weirdly threatening, don't you? Amazing. Okay, you guys, listen, you're not going to hear any interruption really. But now I have gone and I didn't finish this recap in time, and I had to go to that Variety DirecTV event with all of the 40 top women in reality television, which I'll talk all about on Friday. But it was at Spago, and thank God for Kiki Monique at the Talk of Shame. Go listen to her podcast, which I believe is called Pop Crime. It's amazing. She's amazing. Thank God she was there. She saved my ass. It's always great to have somebody that you're friends with there at an event like that, because it was a who's who, folks, of people that have blocked me or unfollowed me. And I'll talk all about that on Friday. But what a night. It's now midnight. Listen, we could have kept going, but I said, hey, I got to go and finish this recording of this amazing Salt Lake City recap. But my God, you guys, I talked with Christine from Sister Wives, Craig Conover from Southern Charm. I talked to Louis, Teresa's husband. Oh, we'll talk all about this on Friday, but what an event. Oh my God. But I wanted to come back and do this, finish this recap for you guys. Oh man, it never stops, right? Oh, Heather McDonald was there tonight. I talked to her. I'll tell you all about this on Friday. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I've changed outfits. I'm in a suit. Or, a suit. Anyways, so now we just get out of that scene, which I loved. And now we are at a scene with Mary Cosby. Now, last night, Mary Cosby was at Kathy Hilton's Christmas party, which I just found out tonight I could have been invited to. But that's why you always got to, use your contacts. I was in Arizona, but I could have been invited to that, and I just didn't. I didn't even ask or push. And always push. That's the moral of the story. Anyways, Mary Cosby was there at Kathy Hilton's last night. You might have seen the video. And Kathy Hilton was on the red carpet at Kathy Hilton's house right next to Kathy Hilton. And she even said, Mary Cosby says in an interview with Freddie Mellencamp that she has not been invited to a lot of the events. We've now speculated about this where it's like nobody, Mary Cosby just doesn't show up. Turns out Mary Cosby just wasn't invited, and she thinks they're trying to phase her out, which that is really a good possibility. But Mary Cosby, if you're listening, maybe when you're actually on screen, don't ask to go to McDonald's in a Sprinter van to get a Filet-O-Fish sandwich. Maybe stay with the ladies, and then you'll start being invited to these trips and Bermuda and things like that. But anywho, we pick back up in the recap. We're over at Mary Cosby's house. We see her house. We hear the music. Oh, oh, oh. And Mary Cosby is looking out of her windows. It's truly amazing. And she opens the door. And who do we see? It is Monica. And Mary opens the door like, oh my God, you look so pretty. Oh my God. And you brought a gift? Because Monica came bearing gifts. And she's like, that's nice. You didn't have to do that for me. Welcome to my home. And Monica's like, it's stunning. And we see Vovo right around the corner. No, we don't see Vovo, but it would be great if Vovo was dressed as one of Mary Cosby's mannequins in her closet. You just saw it moving. Like, oh my God, is that mannequin moving halfway across the screen? No, it's just Vovo. Anyways, Monica lets Mary know that she's like, I've never been in this neighborhood before. And Mary Cosby was thinking oh, of course you haven't, girl. Anyways, they're walking down this long foyer. And Mary Cosby lets us know that she's been in this house for 21 years. And when she says that, I think that's actually, she's saying it's one of those, this is like a Blumhouse horror film. This is like Megan. This is, she's like, I have been attached to this house for 21 years. I actually haunt this house, and I'm a living being. And Monica, by the way, when anybody does a scene with Mary Cosby, they're always really agreeable. They don't want to upset Mary Cosby. So Monica's like, really? Oh my gosh. And she's like, Mary Cosby's like, yes. And Mary Cosby always has a very wide-eyed. She's always wide-eyed in every scene she is. Anyways, Mary Cosby's like, my son was 2 years old when we moved in. And Monica's like, oh my God. And we got it the year oh my God. Oh, it's beautiful. And in a talking head, Monica says, I wanted to come in and check on Mary. I have missed her. She always makes me smile. Now, Monica knows how to play the Housewives game, even though she's a first season housewife. And that's why she's already so good. Because she's kissing the ring in an interesting way because everybody kisses Mary Cosby's ring, but Monica does it in a certain way that's not undermining Mary, if that makes sense. Like, it almost seems like she really truly does respect Mary, but at the same time, there's like a wink to the camera of like, I get it, but I've got to do this. I'm a first season housewife, you know? So we go into Mary's kitchen and, Monica and Talking Head, they keep going back and forth. She's like, I could have like had a buddy at some of this shit. But like I gotta have Mary Cosby. I have to have some backup dressed as a pioneer, which we all know Mary would have been an amazing pioneer, Monica says. And Mary's like, you want cake? And they do a shot of like a half-eaten cake, like Mary's already went really fully in on the cake. And Monica's like, sure. And Mary Cosby's like very smiley in this scene. So it's like a good day for Mary Cosby. And Monica, we see her eating the cake. And then Mary Cosby is like, is your cake good, by the way? And Monica's like, it's delicious. Because Monica's not going to say, like, it's bad cake. And then Mary Cosby immediately loves the compliment. She's like, okay, good. Thank you. And then Monica's like, did you make it? And she's like, no. No, not even. I bought it. Oh, and Monica's like, great. Okay. And Mary is just so smiley and happy in this. She's full of God in this scene. And Monica's like, so how have you been? What's been going on with you? And Mary's like, I've been good. I'm just trying to pace my time and make sure that my sanity is protected. Like, what does that even mean? I'm trying to have my sanity protected in a room full of mannequin heads? What does that mean? And she's like, make sure I'm not losing my mind on anyone like I did. And then she does a big old eye move, like a big old bug-eyed movement again. And we get a flashback to the Sprinter Band where we have the scene with Whitney where Mary was like, you called me a pornography. And Monica's like, what? A what? A pornography. Grow up, little girl. Okay, I'm done. So we get a flashback of all the scenes of Mary Cosby this season where she just runs away. And Monica's like, I get it. That's where I'm at. And Mary Cosby's like, losing your mind? Mm-hmm. Now, on its face, this is like a really kind of could be a laughable, funny scene. But if you look deeper, this is a scene about two women literally losing their minds. And Monica's trying to really butter up Mary. And she's like, but I feel like Lisa was just relentless. I do. And Mary Cosby's like, well, with Lisa, though, I feel like you both go back and forth. I like that Mary, when she's put in the position of soothsayer, of like a wise older elder, and Mary Cosby loves that position because she'll immediately give you, well, this is how Mary Cosby sees it. She's like, I feel it's not just her. I feel like it's both of you. And then Monica's like, oh shit, Mary Cosby's stepping to the plate. And then Monica immediately goes, you know what, Mary Cosby, I agree. I do. She gets nasty, that one. She does. And Mary's like, I agree. I'm trying to figure out what her problem is with me, Monica says. Ever since that dinner in Palm Springs, when I said she's materialistic, I feel like I've just stayed under her skin. And then Mary Cosby's like, well, what does she say that makes you, what does she say that makes you feel that? It seems like this Mary Cosby almost seems sane. And Monica's like, oh my God, she'll look at you and go, oh my God, how many carats is that ring? Oh, is that your new Chanel? And Mary Cosby is just laughing and smiling. She is loving Monica's performance. And I will say, Monica did great work here because even at the party last night, Mary Cosby said on the red carpet that she still supports Monica 100%, that we all need to pray for Monica after the reunion, but she is in Monica's corner. So amazing. So Monica's saying, oh my God, I love that. And she tells you nothing about herself in the meantime. And then Mary Cosby's like, oh yeah. And then she's just on mute the rest of the time. And then the rest of the time, she's just on mute. And Monica's shaking her head up like, exactly, Mary Cosby. You're a genius. You are a genius. And Mary Cosby goes, you just have to take her for who she is. You just have to do that with Lisa Barlow. And she's like, it's going to bother you, to hold a grudge. It eats at people. Like, I think grudges eat at you. Like, you should not be a grudge holder. Mary, and then Monica says, Mary can give a wonderful advice in the talking head. Mary can give wonderful advice. She gives great advice. But she might not be great at taking her own advice. But, those who can't do, teach, Monica says in the talking head. And then back in the scene, Monica says to Mary Cosby, I'm just going to apologize. And Mary Cosby goes, you have to, and move on. And just really mean it. You can't just say things just to say it, not with them. And Monica's like, right. That's why I said she's wrinkly, and I meant it. And Mary Cosby goes, but don't say that, okay? I love that she agrees with Mary Cosby and goes, that's why I said she's wrinkly, because I meant it. Like, that Monica is coming for she's coming for the gold. That's a baller statement. So Mary Cosby is just tickled pink. She's laughing nonstop at everything Monica says. Now we cut to that, and we are with Whitney in her car. She's just going down the streets, the mean streets of Salt Lake City, and she's calling Ange. She's like, Ange, hi. And Ange is like, I am so sorry for your loss, Whitney. I just called to see how you're doing. And Whitney's like, losing one of my best friends has been so much. I'm like, I can't do the voice on this because it's a serious scene. She's like, losing one of my best friends has been so much harder than I thought. I've never lost someone that I love this much. And she's crying as she drives. And then Whitney, in a talking head, reveals, she said, I received a call last night, found out that Sherry passed away. And I've been in a fog and I haven't known what to do. And it's been really hard, like really, really hard. And Angie's like, yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much for calling, Whitney says. Yeah. And Whitney is still driving. And she's like, I want to stay home, but like, Sherry is the type of friend that would go to Meredith Marks' jewelry event. And then this is where it gets a little ridiculous, because Whitney then goes, Sherry literally came to my Prism event. And we see flashbacks of Sherry at the Prism event. Like, if Sherry can show up to events fighting cancer and not feeling well, then I can show up for Meredith. And I think it'll be good to be around, my other friends. And I just think this is the part where it's like, the loss of your friend is so intense, and it is such, but it's how they try to connect these scenes. Sometimes I'm like, you guys are doing too much. Like, Sherry's death doesn't mean that you have to go to Meredith Marks' jewelry event. Sherry's death should not teach you a lesson of like, wow, she inspired me to go to overpriced jewelry events. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be mean here. And I know Whitney would get this, and I know Whitney understands this, but I think the show makes you do weird things. And this was just one of those things where she's like, thank you so much, and I love you. And Ange's like, love you too. Okay. So, okay, good. Whitney's in for the Meredith Marks jewelry event. Okay, so now we into that scene. We have the choir, and then we cut to, oh my gosh, we're with Lisa Barlow and Jack Barlow, her son, and John Barlow, her husband, and we are at a Mormon clothing shopping store. And we are getting clothes for Jack Barlow's mission, which I thought they all wore the same thing. Nuh-uh, not at this shop. And Lisa's like, let's go check this out. And they're welcomed. And Lisa's like, good. How are you? Oh my God. How are you? Oh my God. How are you guys doing? Oh my God. We need to shop for our missionary. And the guy's like, awesome. Where are you headed? And Jack is like, Columbia, Bogota. Okay, awesome. Very cool. Very cool. While you're proselytizing, you got to wear slacks, though we do have some slacks. It's kind of like Lululemon that are stretchy. And Lisa's like, oh my God, I love that. So it kind of helps you like keep you more comfortable. So this is what I love about consumerism, that even in this kind of mission, going to serve people, going to serve the Lord, going to serve the Mormon religion, consumerism has found a way It's like Jeff Goldblum, like, life is going to always find a way. I love they found a way. Even in the Mormon missionary, they're like, we can find a way to sell you $200 stretchy slacks. Do not let this mission fool you. We can still make money off this mission. And they're looking around these clothes, and it looks like a ball. It looks like when what was that place when I grew up in Kansas? It was like this it was like Oak Tree, and then it turned into like Express for Men. Or it was Structure, and then that turned into Express for Men. But anyways, Lisa is in this blue, like furry, like fur coat. She looks amazing, but also ridiculous. And she's like, oh my God, look at this. Like, can he even wear this? Like, it's teal, because there's all like kind of baller colors and stuff. And even me, like, I know what Mormon missionaries wear. And I was like, this looks way too fancy. This is like if like Elton John was like Diet Coke, like in those old Pepsi commercials, when he would like just, I mean, Elton John's always been baller, but it's like Mormon missionary shouldn't be dressing like Elton John in a Diet Coke commercial. But Lisa is very impressed. But he's like, can he even wear this? And the guy's like, no. So this one's going to be more for like, you know, typically you want something a little more conservative. And the husband's like, yeah, he's not going on a dance or whatever. I mean, yeah, they like to be more on the conservative side, the salesperson says. And then Lisa's like, would you mind if I put my coat somewhere? He's like, yeah, we can totally drape this over here. Thank you so much. And then Lisa's like, so what's it saying? Because Jack is checking, I guess, the Mormon regulation, you know, clothing website. And Jack's like, Fudge College, Mom. One suit, 8 to 10 white shirts. You know this guy's going to get 10. If it says 8 to 10 white shirts, Lisa's going to be like, we'll get you 11 white shirts. He's like, and 6 to 8 ties, 3 to 5 socks. And then she's like, okay, let's see if Jack looks good in this. And pulls out this like kind of baller coat. And John, the husband's like, yeah, that's maybe if he was like going to Vegas, you know. And the guy's like, hey, what size pants are you? And Jack is like, 32. I'm 32. And then Lisa's like, but he might get chubby on his mission, so maybe a 33. So I love that Lisa's head is in the right place, that this guy might gain weight. We've got to get a Mormon Mozempic. So maybe I love that's the thought on like, is that he's going to go away and potentially eat his feelings, that he'll go from a 32 to a 33. So they're picking. She's like, I like this brown one. This is amazing. It's like total jungle chic. And the thing is, and the tricky thing is that Jack is a young man, and he's also a baller. If you see the way Jack dresses in the show, he likes his clothing. So we're in a tough position here. They're talking about potentially a camo. It's a lot. And Lisa's now talking with the salesperson. She's like, I like that you've taken a more modern approach to suiting. And he's like, yeah, like we feel like missionaries don't need to be ugly. Yeah, you don't need to. Like, forget fashion. Come on. And Jack comes out in his little Mormon outfit, and she's like, oh my God, you look like a cute little missionary. And Jack immediately says, hey, Mom, I think you need the separation more than I do. And she's like, why? And then Jack goes, you're a lot, Mom. And she looks, you know, I will say this. This is why I love Lisa Barlow. No matter how many batshit crazy things you say that she says, she'll like have these looks where you know she is so intensely in love with her family, and that this is tearing her apart to lose her son. And I think that is so relatable, and that she's trying to keep it all together, and she's trying to be positive, but you know it eats at her. And Lisa's like, is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? I don't know if that's a good thing. And Jack goes, I love you so much, but I need the space, Mom. Wow, okay. She's like, when you were 18, Mom, you were telling me stories about how you were getting like into Russian mobsters' limos. And Lisa Barlow immediately smiles of like, oh my God, yeah, I did. Those are amazing stories. And he's like, yeah, you were going to vacations all over. Like, you left the nest. It's my turn to leave the nest. And she's like, okay, fly, go away. It doesn't make it less hard for us. And to me, this scene is funny, but it's also just beautiful. This is a beautiful scene. no matter how, rich Lisa is or how, how much power she wants to have, this is a mother that loves her son. And you can tell it kills her that he's going away. But at the same time, what makes it fascinating is because you can tell Jack wants to go away so badly. Not because he hates his parents or he hates his mom, but he does need it. He needs to find out the man who he is. And I think that's what makes this just really compelling to me. Maybe you guys find it boring. But I thought this was really interesting because when you have a powerful woman like Lisa Barlow, it's got to be interesting to be her son and to find your own voice and to find out what you think. And I mean, this is really interesting because I don't doubt the love that either of these people have for each other, but it's one of those necessary things where he feels like he needs to go out and spread his wings. But Lisa's like, it's going to be hard for me not having you here for Christmas, not having you here for Thanksgiving. That's going to be sad. And Jack is kind of like shrugging, like, I don't know, Mom. And we see Lisa and she's just trying to like take it all in. In a talking head, she goes, this mission for Jack is so personal and he's going for the right reasons. He's going because he felt strongly that this is the right decision for him. He has everything at his fingertips. He's going to be doing everything else in the world with these people, but he chose to go out there and connect with people, share a message of love and kindness, and teach people about God. As soon as he wakes up until the time he goes to bed, he's going to be serving others. And as a mom, I couldn't be more proud of him. But I just love the fact that they're just stalking this guy with baller Mormon missionary clothes, because I feel like these people in Bogota, they're going to open the door and they'll be like, holy shit, we're used to fucking people in cheap ass Mormon clothes, Old Navy Mormon clothes. You showing up with baller Mormon clothes. Anyway, she's like, let's take the brown shoes too. I just love that they're potentially going out of the store spending like $1,000. But for some reason, and I think it's just because of the shit with my mom lately, this shit broke my heart. And and Jack hugs his mom. He hugs her so tightly. And you can tell John, the husband and the father, he's watching this and going like, hey, I totally understand this. I totally understand what's going on both of their accounts. And he's that great bridge between son and mother. And he's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And then Lisa goes, do you remember what you used to say to me when you were little? You said, my heart beats to mom, to mom, to mom. Like, I feel like just yesterday I brought you home and I was playing in the playground with you. And he goes, I think it'll be good for me to leave. And because then I'll come back and you'll look at me, not as your little baby, but as an actual adult. Going and living in a poor country for 2 years, which, by the way, Bogota is not a poor country. Maybe it's a poor country to Jack or the Barlows, but it's not a poor country. But he says, maybe going and living there for 2 years in a poor country, I'll come back and I'll be able to recognize all the good stuff. And she's like, I hope so. I do. And she's like, here's a bet. What's the over under or how long until your mom stops crying after you leave, the dad says. And the husband goes, I'd say a week. And she's like, no. And then Jack says, up until I come home. And it says, once in a while. It's because she'll be stuck with me, the husband says. And Lisa's like, that's true. And last night, Lisa Barlow, when this aired, tweeted, I'm still crying. And this was after Thanksgiving. And I just think that was just a really beautiful scene. No matter what you think about Lisa Barlow, no matter what, I just thought that shows like the true love between a mother and a son and that connection that they have. But what I find fascinating is that Jack is this young man wanting to feel like this grown adult, wanting to feel like Jack, Scarcell's son, which, oh my God, I watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on the East Coast feed. Woo! Morgan and Kyle. I have not seen that Kyle that giddy and giggly. Ooh, oh my God, Morgan. Oh my God. They're tattooing my body, Morgan. I have not seen Kyle like that in forever, which I don't really know her. By the way, oh my God, it was so wild. I was like walking right next to Kyle and I just made those memes of her tonight on Instagram and I just felt so bad. But at the same time, I was like, holy shit, girl, you killed it tonight. That was wild. Okay, you guys, and now we are in a scene where Heather Gay pulls into this restaurant and she is meeting Monica Garcia. And let me just be honest with you guys, this is not my best work. I realize I don't feel like I'm killing this recap, but join me tomorrow for a Beverly Hills recap. I am going to slay that. Yeah, a grown man just said slay. I am just so damn tired right now. And I've had a couple of glasses of the old Chardonnay. I'll tell you what, this is one of the mistakes is that after the Spago party, me and Kiki, we wanted to keep it going and meet up with the DirecTV people. So we were originally going to go to Tom Tom. We went to Tom Tom on Santa Monica Boulevard and it was like 10 p.m. and they were already closing. It was that not full. So we went to Rocco's a couple doors down and they were having this whole drag show blast. I only say they're like an hour, but I'm just feeling it, man. I still have not gotten a good night's sleep in like a week. Just coming off the old Thanksgiving trip. So guys, I realize if you're thinking like this recap isn't good, I tend to agree with you. Hopefully this doesn't affect anybody's Spotify Wrapped for me. So anyways, Monica pulls up, she gets out of this car, she goes in, Heather's checking out the menu. And she's like, oh my God, Monica, what are you carrying? Because Monica's carrying a box. She's like, is that alcohol? And Monica's like, surprise. And they do that. Oh my God, you look pretty. No, you look pretty. How are you, girl? I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you? They do that huggy, sing-songy bullshit. And because they haven't seen each other since the bonnet party. And Heather Gay orders a Chardonnay called Bread and Butter. And then Monica orders a Moscow Mule. So we're off to the races. And Monica lets us know, oh my God, that's my favorite drink, a Moscow Mule. Anyways, so Monica goes, what's the plan? And Heather's like, are you coming to Bermuda? And Monica goes, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. And she's like, just kidding. And Heather's like, oh, I was like, great. And then Monica's like, you took that way too well, bitch. You took that way too well. And Heather's like, well, yeah, because I just felt bad after our luncheon. It felt like you were down. And Monica's like, that was really difficult. That was a difficult meal for me. I love that Monica goes, that wasn't just difficult. It was a difficult meal for me. It was hard for me to process meats and cheeses that day. Like, I love it. She was like, it wasn't just difficult. It was a difficult meal for me. We've all been there. It's hard. I had Del Taco last night. That was a difficult meal for me in retrospect. We flash back to the bonnet party with Monica going, the way you treated your mother. She's like, shut up. You don't know shit about my mom. Because Lisa was talking about the mother. And she's like, you don't know shit. And Monica's like, shut up. Shut up. And Heather's like, I was concerned. And Monica's like, that's fair. That's fair. And Heather's like, you were upset. I was trying to guide you with tough love, but I won't do that again. And Monica's like, the best thing for me in that situation for me was just zip it. And Heather's like, yeah. And then Monica goes, I owe you the biggest apology, Heather. I am so sorry. I was so honored and so excited to do this with you, this Bermuda trip. And I completely let you down. And Heather's like, it's okay. It's okay, girl. And so for somebody like Heather to be like, oh my God, I'm attracted to like a moth to a flame, like Jen Shaw, then don't be, it's okay. Say, I'm setting a boundary right here and right now. That's a fascinating scene for reality television as well. In a talking head, Heather's like, Monica's being so apologetic, but she's also shown that she has a dark side. Like Darth Vader, She's like, I like Monica a lot as a person, but I can't help it that there are alarm bells going off for me. So in the scene, she's like, so what's our game plan? Because I want to host this trip. And, I have some things planned, and Monica's like, be nice. That's like baseline. And Monica's like, I really want to have a good time. And then Heather's like, let's cheers to new things, to not getting mad about everything, Monica says. And then they cheers and laugh. And then Heather's like, and not calling women ugly or old. Not making fun of menopause or hormones. And Monica's like, we are middle-aged. That's a fact. And Heather's like, I know, but no one wants to be reminded of that ever. Which, by the way, Heather Gay was there tonight with her daughter, and Heather Gay looked great. She looked so great. Heather, if you're listening, I'm so bummed that you unfollowed me and got upset about something that I said about you. But who knows? Anyway, so we're on to the next scene. We're on the mean streets of Salt Lake City. We see a bunch of different things, and then we see another SUV pull out, and then we have Big Bird. No, that's Meredith Marks in an all yellow outfit. She pulls up. She walks into this event with Seth. with Seth and her son Brooks. And it says Brooks, 24, Meredith's son. And in a talking head, Meredith goes, "Tonight is a soft launch of our collection. It's called Plated by Meredith Marks. Plated is supposed to be for people who maybe can't afford to buy the fine jewelry. So, and then, okay, so what the fuck does this mean? Because then they show some of the jewelry and the fucking price tags on these like fucking reed earrings that they're showing is $1,850. Who the fuck? I can't afford the cheap jewelry. This is considered the cheap jewelry? Plated is gonna listen, my Toyota Corolla is not this. This is insane. She's like, before I put it out into the universe for everybody, I'm just doing a soft launch. So we see Meredith directing around, being a jewelry maven. And then all of a sudden, Heather and Monica show up together to this event. They're obviously coming from their pre-drink into this. And Seth, Meredith, Brooks, they're all just frantically putting up this jewelry for the scene. And then they see that Heather and Monica's there. And Meredith's like, "Well, welcome everybody. Oh my God, what is that? What did you bring? Oh my God, this is amazing." And Heather brought her churned butter. Meredith's like, "Oh my God, you brought your churned butter, your 6-minute hand job butter. That is just amazing." Meredith is in such a good mood. She hugs Monica. She hugs Heather. Fun is being had. And then we see all of these people walking in. Meredith is greeting everybody. She's just amazing. And also, all of a sudden, we see Lisa and John Barlow getting out of their SUV. They come into the event. Meredith is still hugging people. We see Seth in the background going, "What's up? I'm Seth. I co-host the podcast Hanging by a Thread with Meredith Marks. I love Whitney's tatas." So Meredith is meeting people, and Lisa's meeting people, and Monica's taking in the whole scene. And Meredith's like, "This is the new Plated collection. This is the jewelry for the poor people, even though the poor people have to be rich to afford the jewelry." And then Whitney walks in. And remember, Whitney has let us know that she's coming to this event, in honor of her friend who just passed away, Sherry, because Sherry would have showed up to events like this. The logic doesn't fully reach me, but who knows? I love Whitney. So Whitney is greeted by Meredith. And Meredith's like, "What's going on? Are you all right? What's up? What's up?" And you can tell Whitney is just very bothered. And she's like, "Sherry passed away yesterday." And Meredith's like, "Oh, honey. Oh, my gosh, honey." And hugs her. If I was Meredith, I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing at my Plated event? You could have just given me a credit card number. You didn't even have to show up. I just count on you for like $4,000 in sales." And Whitney's like, "I didn't want to put a rain cloud over your jewelry event. I just wanted to show you my support." And Meredith's giving her a deep hug. So deep that I'm like, did Meredith fall asleep hugging Whitney? She's like, "It's just so comforting in your bosom. I'm just going to take a quick little snooze." And Whitney's like, "I can't ruin your event, though. You got to." And then Whitney's like, "Here, I brought backups," because Meredith's crying and she pulls tissues out of her her purse to give to her. She's like, "I decided to rally." And Meredith's like, "I can't believe you did. Thank you. That was really nice. That was really, no, but for real, can I have your credit card number? I'm so sorry, Whitney. I feel," and then talking to her, she's like, "I feel so horrible for Whitney. I just can't imagine losing a friend and showing up today." I like Meredith basically saying, "This jewelry is kind of shitty. I just can't imagine showing up still." She tells Whitney, "This really means something, And the talking head, she's like, "It's been a lot of ups and downs. I feel like we've been on a path to repair." Meredith Marks, you notice she's had so many paths to repair for like multiple people in the cast with Lisa Barlow. Like, we are just trying to repair our friendship. Meredith is like a full-time mechanic. She is repairing everything. But she goes, and her making the effort to come today, it really means a lot. It does. It really means a lot. So back to the hugging. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And Whitney has a little tear in her eye. We cut to other people coming into the event. Monica sees Whitney, and Monica's like, "Girl, I got you. I got you." And Whitney's like staring at her like, "Girl, you know." We see Seth hugging John Barlow. He's like, what's going on? How you doing? Look at you. I love this. I love this. And John's like, I love your look. Hey, we're just two guys being emotional about each other's Mormon outfits, right? Huh? And then we cut to Lisa, and Lisa's like, what's new with you guys? What's going on? And Whitney tells Monica, she's like, I'm trying to decide if it's a good or a bad idea if I drink. And Whitney's like, Sherry would want me to have a drink. She would want me to be on the table dancing. And Monica's like, that's what you got to do then. That's what you got to do. And Heather's like, I need to give Whitney a hug. Come here. I'm so sorry. How are you? They hug. It's emotional. And Heather goes, it's going to be okay. And Whitney's like, thank you. And she's like, just compartmentalize, girl. Just compartmentalize. That's what you got to do. So Monica and Lisa comes over with drinks. And then Lisa Barlow goes, okay, so 420. Her book party was on 420. And Heather's like, on purpose. So I'm giving, cannabis gifts. Oh my God, she keeps giving me cannabis jewelry. Anyways, Whitney goes, Lisa and I had a problem like 2 weeks ago. And we flash back to that scene with Lisa where Whitney's like, I'm just mortified that the two of you behaved that way at like my Prism event. Because Lisa's like, I didn't start it. It was Monica. And Whitney's like, I don't care who started it. Okay, so it's my fault. Monica's ridiculous. Okay, no, it's both of your faults. And remember that? That was when Whitney was alone with her children. And Lisa was like, fuck you. This is fucking bullshit. Do not cuss in front of my kids, please. And that's when Bobby crashed in with the fucking golf cart she got for her 13-year-old birthday, hopped up on Diet Dr. Pepper, like, what's going on, Mom? I hear there's a Barlow causing trouble. I've got to go. I'm hopped up on diet caffeine and I fucking got a golf cart. 2 hits, man. Me hitting you, you hitting the floor. Let's go, Barlow. Let's go. I'm ready to wrestle. Please don't do it, Bobby. We got you that golf cart as a code of honor, please. Anyways, back in this scene, Lisa's Whitney in a talking head goes, in fact, Lisa was the first person that I told that Sherry had just passed. And we cut to Lisa laughing with all of these guys. Lisa is the only person that has not said, hey, Whitney, how are you doing? You know, how are you doing with your friend's passing? And so Whitney goes, for her to act like I'm not even existing right now. It's hurtful. And we see Whitney noticing this in the scene while Lisa is just cackling with Heather Gay. And I mean, I don't know, maybe Lisa was just, I hate to make excuses for Lisa, but maybe Lisa was just trying to be light, you know, trying to be like, read the room, and she couldn't read the room, you know? Anyways, back at the party, we see all of these hors d'oeuvres, caviar is being served. Do you know Meredith Marks has a line of Meredith Marks caviar? Just think about those. Yeah, Seth's like, hey, I got your eggs right here. Hey, these eggs are from my wife, and I'm putting them on these caviar eggs, huh? And Seth's like, hey, the more you buy, the more you save with my wife's jewelry. So this lady's like, hey, thank you all for coming. Meredith appreciates it. We're featuring all this jewelry from Meredith Marks. We see everybody clapping in the room, and Meredith gets up to make a speech. She's like, thank you for coming today. I'm just super, super excited to launch my new collection. It's called Plated by Meredith Marks. Plated by Meredith Marks sounds like a meal plan. Like, have you tried Plated? Oh my God, I've lost 10 pounds by doing Plated by Meredith Marks. It's just 3 small meals and a lot of humility. So we're seeing the jewelry. Everybody's clapping. She's like, I just really want to thank, first and foremost, my husband, Seth Marks. And we see Seth in the crowd. He's like, what? You're fucking thanking me? This is amazing. I'm from Canton, Ohio. I've got a business. I run. This is amazing. Now I've got a hit podcast. This is amazing. Through this process, I had a lot of frustrations. Oh, he was always there to support me, Seth. Never stopping, never putting the brakes on. No. He said, love, support, everything, you know. And we see a shot of Seth. He's like, yeah, I didn't put the brakes on. It's fucking all systems go with Seth Marks. Green means go, baby. All right, yeah. He looks around. He kind of gives a little bow. He's like, yeah, I did no breaks. But the whole plated collection ranges from about $50 to $500, which is amazing because the jewelry that we've seen so far, like the price tag's $1,500. And Meredith goes, I'm really proud. I'm really excited. Please feel free to come and try on. Which, by the way, thank God Jen Shaw isn't here because she would have fucking tried this jewelry on and just bounced. You know what I'm saying? We would have had a double prison sentence if Jen Shaw had been at this party. So everybody's just like, applause, hugging her. We see everybody smiling. We see a shot of the drinks. And then Monica's like, oh my God, this is so pretty. When I think Meredith, and Lisa comes up to Whitney and Monica's like, are you guys looking at the Poison and Ring Stardust? And Whitney's like, yes, I have this one. Yes. And Lisa's like, I can't get it back in. Oh my God, I'm taking this jewelry in and I can't get it back in. And Whitney's kind of just like, holy shit, you're still not saying anything. And Whitney's like, fine, I'm going to go say hi to John and Seth. I haven't seen them yet. And walks away from Lisa and Monica. So walks away from this. And then Monica's like, hey, Lisa. Okay, Lisa, I want to tell you something. And I'm like, oh shit. She goes, and this is genuine. Okay, this is genuine. And I was like, oh my God, Monica's about to go, you are the skankiest ass, wrinkliest bitch I've ever seen, bitch. You're like the grandma from Titanic. It's been 84 years. No, but Monica goes, when we had our first lunch together, I really felt excited to have a relationship with you. I did. And to be able to bond. And I think we just got so far left and it got so ugly. And I'm owning my part in that. Right. I felt dirty and I say things that I don't mean. I don't ever want it to get that low again. And she's like, I agree, because we're smarter than that. And I respect you. You do a lot of things that I admire, like truly, Lisa. You're an amazing mom. And then Lisa goes, you're really good at apologizing. I love when Lisa's like, oh my God, she's complimenting me and it's working. This is amazing. And then Monica's like, I'm being serious. And Lisa's like, I know, I am an amazing mom. And in a talking head, Lisa's like, this is the one time where I'm like, keep talking, Monica. Keep talking. You're like this. You're like, keep it coming. And Monica goes in the scene, she's like, I feel like you have a senior and you know what I was going through with that mission. Yeah, Jack's going to Bogota, Colombia. So I'm like, yes. And then Monica's like, oh my God, stop. He's going to Colombia? Yes, he's going to Colombia. And Monica's like, nobody told me. And Lisa's like, okay, you're finding out now. And Monica's like, oh my God, that is so exciting. She's like, yes, it's exciting. And Monica's like, the Colombian side of me is my dad. And I'm like, I felt so disconnected from that. Yeah, a part of me, Lisa, is missing that I don't know, and it's my Colombian side. So that's really cool. Yeah, you've gone through trauma from what I'm understanding, and I think I've had trauma in friendships. Lisa not missing an opportunity to say that she has felt exactly what everybody else has felt. She's like, and I think that once I start to see like, okay, then it's like I pull back. And that's why she's like, that's why I apologize, Lisa, because I need to learn a different way because that's how I was raised. We're fine. Okay. And Monica's like, I feel like we are, right? I feel good. So, hey, no harm, no foul. We're friends now. Monica and Lisa. That's all it took. We get a shot of Seth in the audience walking with Heather. How you doing? I'm Seth. I'm part of the plated collection. Yeah. We see drinks, we see the jewelry, we see people trying on the jewelry, people are looking fancy, people are cheersing, Meredith's laughing, and Seth is with Heather. It's like, we need a man for Heather Gay. What's your perfect man, Heather? Stop compromising. I like that Seth's like, you like a big old cock? You like cock and balls? You like a big old anus? I'm Seth. What's your perfect man? Tell me, Heather Gay. Tell me. And she's like, why do you think my 24-year-olds are compromised? I think that's the brass ring, Seth says. What would the physical features of your kin doll be, Seth says. Like, these are the things that are like, it's kind of positive, but it's kind of still pervy, where it's like, Seth, you could just say what kind of personality. You're like, what physical features fucking turn you? You like hard nips? What's going on there? You like fucking folds? You like a guy that's lost weight that still has some folds? You like stretch marks, babe? What's going on? And Heather's like smiling. She's like, he's faceless. He has a ski mask on. That's my perfect man. And Seth's like, oh, is there a therapist in the house? And then all of a sudden we see Lisa Barlow to Whitney. She's like, can I steal you for a second? I just want to ask one thing. So I'm like, oh shit, this is amazing. What's going on? And she's like, I had like a little lunch with Meredith, and like I felt the conversation was, I mean, not the best, but I thought we left fine. I mean, and then Whitney goes, I mean, I just lost my best friend, and life's too short. And Lisa's like, just forgive me, like I don't have the capacity to deal with that right now. And Lisa's like, anything right now? Okay, well, I don't want to be insensitive. I was just asking. And then Monica's rubbing Whitney's back. She's like, who's rubbing my back? And Monica's like, oh, it's me. Oh, hi. Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry, you guys. I hate to interrupt for just a second, Monica says. You guys, just something for like 5 minutes, she says, and pulls Lisa and Whitney aside. And was like, I was talking. I don't know if I should keep talking to Whitney or not. I don't know. But then Monica's like, okay, guys, thank you for letting me have just 5 minutes of this event. And Meredith is even, she's like, no, I appreciate it. It's great. It's great that you just paused my plated event. But yeah. And Monica's like, hey, I just wanted to give you guys some Bermuda rum. Okay. I wanted to give you Bermuda rum. And Mary's like, yeah, okay, this is beautiful. Okay. And Heather's like, yeah, let's open that up, huh? And these are malasadas. And Mary's like, malasadas, all right. And Monica's like, we're going to rum country, right? We're going to rum country. And I'm really excited about Bermuda. I really am. My family is from there. I have family there now. And it's very special to me. My grandma was born there, ladies. My great grandma and great grandpa moved there to like build up Bermuda. And they're like, that's amazing. And I still have cousins and uncles there. So I'm going to meet up with my family. And they're like, that's so cool. Yeah, I'm excited. And she's like, this isn't just a girls' trip. It's a chance for me to reconnect and meet up with family on my mother's side, which is like, Vovo. Like maybe we don't want to meet up with the mother's side, right? And in a talking head, she's like, it's just very special for me because growing up without a father, I feel like half of me is completely missing. So I treasure anything I do know about. I do know about where I come from. And then the scene's like, cheers to Bermuda, bitches. And they're like, cheers to Bermuda. Cheers to Bermuda. Cheers to Bermuda. And Lisa's like, this is so cool. Thank you for doing this. She's like, and then Monica's like, I really do want to apologize. And Mary's like, no, it's super sweet. It's super sweet. It's very thoughtful, and everybody's very happy. And Heather goes up to Monica. She's like, good job. Bounce back. You're a bounce back girl. You did it. You did it, Monica. And it's funny because they're just hugging really tightly and they're happy. And we know that this relationship fucking falls apart in Bermuda. So I'm so curious how this all happens. And Heather's like, food and rum, bitch. You did it, girl. You did it. More shots of people trying on jewelry. They do another price tag of these hoops. And it's not $1,500 now. It's $2,650, the price tag. So now Lisa is like, what's new with you guys? The whole Jax mission, she's like, what's new with you guys? The whole Jax mission thing? No, sorry. What's new with you guys? And then Seth's like, the whole Jack mission thing. I'm like obsessed with it. It's crazy, huh? It's crazy. I love Seth just small talking. And then we cut to Whitney talking to Brooks Marks. And Whitney's like, I've actually never lost a best friend. And Brooks is like, oh my God, girl, I'm so sorry, girl. And like pulls her in close for a hug. We see a shot of the pastries that Monica brought, and some people were trying to grab one. She's like, you guys, this is not for everybody. These aren't treats for everybody, but you can have this bottle of rum and these pastries right here because somebody didn't show, which I'm guessing is like Mary Cosby. This feels like a little fake scene. So Monica's really a charming person. She makes scenes kind of work even with strangers. So now we're back to the Lisa scene. She's like, Whitney, how are you doing? Are you okay? And Whitney's like, no, I think dealing with death is difficult. And Lisa's like, yes, and you don't know how to approach it with people. I'm sorry you lost someone so important to you. Like, And then Whitney goes, it hurts when you walk up and go right past me and go straight to Heather with gifts like, oh my God, Heather. And Lisa's like, no, she's like, oh my God, I love you. Here are these gifts. And then you look at me and you're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I need you to hug me. I need you to acknowledge. And Lisa immediately tries to hug her, but Whitney pulls back. And Lisa's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, Whitney. I'm sorry. And Whitney just like looks blank faced and it's just stares. We cut to commercial. I will say though, once somebody apologizes to Whitney, she keeps going though. It's like normal people be like, okay, we're good. But Whitney's like, you don't understand. I'm going to tell you what you did again 3 or 4 more times. It's never going to register. I'm going to keep reminding you. So now we pick back up and Heather is looking at Monica with the jewelry. She's like, oh my God, look at this bling. It's amazing. And now we're back to Whitney. She's like, it hurts when you walk up and go right past. It's like the same shit we just saw. And go straight up to Heather with gifts. And then you look at me and you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I need you to acknowledge that I lost my best friend. I'm sorry about that, Whitney. I am. I can't always keep a mental calculator of everything going on for everyone at all times and in all moments. And then Whitney's like, and I love the thought of Lisa keeping a mental calculator. Just the thought of Lisa Barlow's mental calculator. I love that thought of just her tabulating calculations in Lisa Barlow's head because she would be just amazing. And Lisa Barlow's amazing at everything. She's like, Whitney's like, I've been talking to you about it for the last 5 days, and bitch, I texted you last night. Does she need an abacus to keep that? Does she need an abacus to keep that in check? It's been less than 24 hours. That was in a talking head. And Lisa's like, it wasn't about lack of concern for you, Whitney. Whitney, you're always important, which is like half-assed. Lisa's like, and Lisa, by the way, doesn't really believe that. It's almost like Lisa, like you're a half important, Whitney. Like you can tell she half believes it. And Whitney's like, that's why I would just expect you to come to me first tonight and not Heather. And I texted you last night. Like I didn't text everyone. And Lisa's like, and I responded. I know you responded, but like the fact that I reached out to you to say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And you were more excited about giving Heather a gift. She's like, no, it was, no, that's not what happened. That is what happened. I was more excited. It's like, Whitney. Well, that's how it appeared to me, Lisa. Okay, well, that's not how it is. I tried to just suck it up, but like, okay, Whitney, it hurt my feeling. Whitney, because I reached out to you. I'm sorry. I am not Lisa's like, I'm not a perfect person. And she's like, but maybe you could have been like, oh, hey, Whitney, I should see her first and then Heather. And she's like, you know what? I did in that moment. That's what I explained. But I just finished a conversation with John and Seth, but I'm a good person. And when he's like, you're not a bad person and I care about you, but I think you were lacking self-awareness right now. And I think it's triggering that like, and she's like, seeing me talk to Heather, it's like, whatever. It wasn't okay. Well, I'm just making sure. This is a very confusing conversations because Lisa Barlow does not like to admit defeat, and Whitney just keeps fucking beating a dead horse. Like, it's like, I like these scenes because I truly wonder if Whitney, this is truly how she's feeling, or she's like really trying to make a moment, really trying to get all the meat out of the bones. So in a talking head, Lisa's like, when Whitney texted me that her friend Sherry had passed, I felt so horrible. I sent flowers for her this morning to let her know I'm thinking of her. And I know that it's going to be such a hard time. But we're in public. I don't know how fragile she is. And like for me, I plug through things. I want to be quiet about it. So I did not want to say anything that could like upset her because I don't know how Whitney handles grief. And now we're back in the scene, and Whitney's like, you are the first person I texted, you and Angie, and you chose to give Heather a gift. Last week, you and Heather were at each other. She's like, well, you have flowers. You have flowers here. I got you flowers. Thank you. There are flowers on the way to your house. But last week, you were at each other's throats and had a major problem with each other's. Heather's exempt for this. Heather, and no, it isn't because it was just rubbed in my face that day like, oh, I need Lisa. Like, it just felt really fake, Lisa. It felt like, why are you going up to Heather and giving her a gift that when she is not a good friend? Like, well, you have flowers on the way to your. I don't care about flowers. I want you, Lisa. When the fuck did this become single white female? Like, what? Whitney's like, I need you, Lisa. No, you don't. Like, what is going on? How fake are we? You don't need Lisa, Whitney. Are you kidding me? You need what? What am I watching here? And Lisa's just like, what the fuck is going on? And Monica and Heather and Meredith, they all notice this. And then Whitney walks out and Lisa's like, where are you going? Why are you leaving? Stop. And Monica's like, Whitney and Lisa just stormed out. And Heather's like, they stormed out? Why? And she's like, I don't know. I'm just glad it's not me today. I love how every housewife feels like, thank God it's just not me. That's what they all see in these seasons. Like, thank God. So we go back out to this fight, and Whitney's like, everything's about you, Lisa. No, it's not. No, it's not. And I think that you can. I'm sorry for your loss. It is, Lisa, and I'm always there for you. No, I'm so sorry. Always there for you. No, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. I just need you for 1 minute to be there for me. And Lisa walks one way, Heather walks one way, and then production's like, Lisa, we need you to check your mic before you leave. We cut to Meredith talking to John Barlow, and Meredith's like, wow, this is crazy. And John's like, well, if it's not one thing, it's another. It just, that was it. That was tough. Whitney was upset. Did you see this? Did you see this? And John's like, well, I did. I saw them walk back and forth. And we cut to Lisa Barlow, like, trying to rip her mic off. This is what I'm telling, like, housewives need to be fined for. And the lady is just trying to, like, get her mic off safely to not ruin, like, $1,000 piece of equipment. And Lisa's, like, upset. She's like, literally, oh my God. You know what you want to see about putting people? Why don't you, like, keep, like, sorry. It's so wild when Lisa, she's like, oh my God, motherfucker, like, literally. You know what you want to see about putting people first? Why don't you, like, keep your fucking mouth shut? No, you're not putting that mic back on me. You're not putting that back on. And we see Heather and Lisa, like, are aware. And John's like, what's now? I'm so fucking sick about these people. I'm so, what happened? What'd she say? And Lisa, like, runs out. And then Whitney comes back into the party. And then it's like, next time on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, we see the ladies jet off to Bermuda. We see them cheersing. We see them running on white sand beaches. Whitney falls into the ocean. Heather screams, shark. Everybody's laughing. And Meredith goes, who has the room with the bathtub in it? Somehow I got one without a bathtub. You know, one thing about Meredith Marks, she deserves a fucking bathtub. That's where she does her best work. It's like, if there's a fucking closet with mannequins, you know Mary Cosby's going to need it. She does her best work in there. And Monica's like, or at least like, I understand Meredith has an obsession with bathtubs, and I have one too, and I'm not giving my bathtub up. And then we see Heather Gay and Lisa Barlow both in gigantic sunglasses talking to each other, and they seem to be kind of fighting. And Whitney then at a dinner table in another scene goes, Lisa, you hurt my feelings. She's like, you treated me shitty at Meredith's event, Whitney. I guess you had a conversation with Heather when I said I'm self-absorbed and you're helping me. She's like, what are you talking about? And Heather's like, I had a really hard conversation with Lisa. And for you to even sit there and say, like, so now Heather and Whitney are having a fight. And Whitney's like, fuck you, Heather Gay. And that's the episode, folks. Oh my God, we got through it. Oh, this is one of my shittiest recaps I've ever done. Don't you feel good for wasting 2 hours of your life? But I thank God that you did. I love you guys so much. Thank you. But please come back for the Beverly Hills recap on Friday. I'm gonna knock that podcast. I'm gonna knock that recap's dick into the dirt. Like, I'm gonna kill it. I love you guys. Goodbye. If you like this podcast, rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Bye.